me, it was overcoming pornography. I was dumping into that to relieve stress. In 1 week, I lost $250,000 cash. That same week, I lost her. Thought I was gonna marry her. I lost my 2 top sales executives who were best friends at that time. Dude, it just crashed. It humbled me and it woke me the F up, and I realized I was chasing the wrong thing. And I got to a point, Evan, where I was like, I don't fucking care about the business end, because it's been distracting me from healing.
Like, I remember losing it all and literally having my first panic attack, drinking every single day. I had a 2-year-old daughter at the time. I'm living in this penthouse apartment, and I remember sitting there and I laid on the floor. I was just drunk. My daughter's sitting there and she's playing, and I couldn't breathe, and I thought I was having a heart attack. And it was the worst experience of my life, because I looked over at my daughter and I just thought to myself, like, this can't be, this can't be it, What was that moment that made you really say, this isn't working?
Yeah, it was a moment. It was.
All right, guys, I got something crazy from you. This is probably the most vulnerable that I've ever gotten on our channel, just sharing some of the dark things that we've been through to grow a 9-figure organization, to be one of the top salespeople in multiple industries, and to be continuously growing my team. A lot of you guys look up to Ian and I, but there's some things that you need to know that we went through in order to become the people that we are today. I got Nick here with me, one of my boys.
Let's go.
He runs one of the best solar organizations in Utah. Just an incredible guy. This guy's been through some shit. He's gonna show you here today, and we're gonna walk you through on how to find your purpose and your meaning, how to make more money, how to become a better salesperson, how to become a better leader. Guys, this talk is transformational, and I don't just say this lightly. I really want you to stay through the end. When I drop at the very end, I'm gonna drop some of the most important things I might have ever dropped on this entire channel. Yeah. This talk is so damn good, Nick. I get emotional. I cry a couple times in this conversation. Yeah, you let some tears go, and we really show you what it's like to work your way from salesperson to leader to entrepreneur, the different pressures and struggles you're gonna face. This is truly a talk that you're gonna wanna stay to the very, very end. Throughout this thing, you're gonna find different things that that will change your life. So let's get right into it. I'm so pumped to have Nick here. Cannot wait for you guys to see what we got. Let's go, Nick.
Let's go. Stoked.
Let's go.
Guys, welcome to the show. We have Evan Macklin. I'm in their house today.
Yep.
We have Andy Elliott's office is incredible here.
Thank you.
Dude, thank you for having me over here.
Yeah. It's awesome having you. We're fired up, man. Excited to be here with you and to build a deeper relationship. And I was thinking about this podcast, and I was thinking about you and the time you spent with us the last couple of days. And honestly, the conversation we had yesterday made me really self-reflect, like how our relationship kind of started off. And I don't know if you know this, but I kind of owe you an apology. And I wanted to be very kind of just real on this podcast and really just chop it up and have a really good conversation, and then also be able to give people some real value on how they could grow, whether it's mindset, sales skill, habits, how to become the best version of themselves, all the stuff that me and you are just addicted to. But like being totally transparent, totally vulnerable, I met you a couple of years ago, and at solar cons and different things like that, and different events and stuff like that. But I think I really did judge you. And I judged like the solar, I judged like just you as like just a normal solar guy. I didn't know how much depth you had. I probably prevented our relationship from getting to the point where it's gotten over the last couple of weeks because of that. And a lot of that was my own problem, because I didn't master my own self. And I did to you probably what a lot of people did to us, which was judge from the outside without actually getting to know you.
Yeah.
And over the last couple of weeks, the man in the arena, us being down in some of these environments where we had to get uncomfortable together, some different things, where once I actually saw the depth of who you are and what you've been through, I started to realize that you are a servant heart leader, and it's not all about the money from you. It's not all about like the image for you. You do have a really cool image. You do have a really you have a really good image as far as like who you are as a person. But going deeper on that and actually getting to know your heart, I really saw like what you've been through and the growth that you've had actually over the last couple of years too. And so my ego it prevented me from going deeper with you early on. But you coming down here and spending some time with us, and then us spending some time back in Utah a couple of weeks ago, allowed us to get to a level where I feel like we're friends.
Yeah, man.
And I feel like we have a good relationship. And I think going forward, that's a blessing. So I want to, you know, I'm thankful to God that we got put in some of these moments together, because now I know who you are, and I know why you're building a good organization and why you are the man who you are, which is really cool for me. So I'm thankful to add another friend to just our collection.
Love it. You got a huge collection, bro. Yeah. I'm happy to be part of the collection.
Yeah.
And same goes to you, brother. Yeah. I appreciate your vulnerability and humility in saying that. I honestly, it didn't even like register for me like any resentment. I didn't feel anything, just so you know.
Yeah.
Nothing, nada. No judgment. I didn't feel anything. So just so you know.
Well, you know, and I think that was probably because I was being fake, you know, and I probably did have some of that. And I did kind of blow you off on a couple of things early on. Like you asked me to be on a podcast like a couple of years. You asked me to do a couple of things, and I just was like, you know, like, dude, we'll do it another, you know, at some point. But I know now who you are, and I honestly, I'm excited to like grow more with you and learn more about you and your team and all the things that you're doing. And dude, you're the same as us. You're on a journey to be the best leader that you possibly can be, being a servant leader. Where it's not about you, it's about the people that you're serving, it's about the community that you're building. You're a technical salesperson. You're a person who understands the ins and outs of solar, not like, you know, better than most people that I know. So it's cool. It's cool to see that type of stuff. And I kind of knew that, but I didn't know your heart. And so knowing your heart now, I'm like, dude, this is a good dude. This is a guy that's going to impact a lot of freaking lives.
Thanks, Evan. I appreciate that, bro. Yeah. And same goes to you, brother. It's cool to come here and see your office. Like, I've seen how you guys have been misjudged and misunderstood by people. And I've always, even without having to like gotten to know you guys super well yet, like prior to coming here, I always had your guys back because I'm like, dude, these guys are savages with their culture and how they build teams, their self-development, the leadership. And when people, you know, call people out or judge, it's them projecting their insecurities
100%
on others.
Yes.
And so I call it out now. Yeah. Like if people are talking shit on anyone, I'm calling it out.
I've seen you in comments. I've seen you in comments defending us too. And I appreciate that. And you know, nobody's perfect, man. It's like every mistake that anybody's ever made, I've made it too. I just pray that people, you know, they just want to get better and they listen to this message, and there might be one person out here who listens to whatever we talk about and finds some breakthroughs on becoming that person who maybe isn't judgmental, maybe they're a little lazy, maybe they're a little entitled, maybe they're a leader who doesn't, you know, who hasn't built the right team, and maybe their team's left them, or some of these things that constantly happen to us, and it's always our problem, it's always our fault.
Always.
So yeah, so you know, it's crazy shit. The internet is a crazy place, you know, so we live on it. We put ourselves out there. We're definitely willing to be honest with who we are. That's why I wanted to start this thing off by just telling you, man, you're a freaking good dude, and let's freaking rock. Let's rip.
Go, baby. Let's go, dude.
Yeah.
So one thing I wanted to jump in with you, Evan, is I'm very impressed with like the energy, the office, like how you guys run things. What would you say is different with how you guys run your sales teams versus how you've seen other people run theirs?
We treat it as a family. I know a lot of people don't really agree with that. A lot of people, it's like business or business and family, and it's very segmented. For us, there's no, you know, people nowadays they hijack the word balance, and they want to have balance. For us, it's work-life integration. So we really integrate the families, the couples. We integrate that all into the business. So, you know, the wives are here, the kids are here. Some of them go to school here. You know, the wives are helping out. Some of them are assistants on our teams. We really wanted to build a family back when we started this company. We really weren't trying to build some corporate company. We really wanted to do something that was different than everybody else. We were sick of just the usual companies that we work for. So everything we wanted to build was different. So that's why we go to church together. That's why we do our team workouts every week. Our team runs. It's about growing that culture and that bond. So I think the thing that just separates us the most is our intentions for wanting to be really truly close to our team. Yeah. Like truly close to them when they're at the hardest moments of their life, they're at their moments that they're breaking. We want to stand by them and really truly be with them. And a lot of companies, people are just numbers, and people know that. They might not say it because you're paying them and you're paying them the money and they're working for you because you're the boss.
Yeah.
But for us, we want them to work for us because we're their coaches. We want to coach them. We want to be honest with them. We want to push them. We want to grind on them. We want their wives to know that we are going to turn them into better men. We want we want to turn the wives into better wives for their men.
Yeah.
You know, and the kids too. We want the whole thing. We don't just want one-dimensional people. We want fully multi-dimensional people.
This is where you guys and us really resonate, bro.
Yeah.
Like, this is where we're very similar. And I've got to give it to you, Ian. Like, I came here to be a student of you guys. Like, you saw me just observing, and I just want to get the feel. And like, from afar, I've been able to observe, like, hey, these guys are different, and I see how they're different. Where it's one thing to focus on, like, health and fitness and then sales performance, but then it's another thing to, like, every part of the life.
Yeah.
And, you know, seeing is believing. I've been here, I've seen the team, I've seen how you guys are, and you guys are the real shit.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It's amazing. And so for anyone like that is not aware, like, most people know who you guys are.
Yeah.
Like, you guys and Andy and the crew.
Yeah.
But these guys are next level with everything. Like, the energy is contagious. Yeah. And dude, let's talk about, like, what things within the culture, like, as far as energy and culture and motivation, outside of the self-development, I want to jump into that, but, like, for building culture and creating this high energy environment, like, what are some things that, like, you guys focus on? Well,
culture's built outside of the office. So you know, the one thing that we never really did much in the dealership world, because I come from the dealership world, so I spent 10 years selling cars. I was one of the top sales people for our brand in the country. I was always really competitive, but our culture was never that great, and that comes from the top down. So, like, if we're even going to talk about culture, are you the leader that people even want to be like? Does your life, do people want to follow you because your life is something that they want to have?
Yep.
So Andy and Jackie have a really cool life. They have a really cool marriage. They have a really great setup with their kids. They're very good parents. So that family culture and the life that they've built really makes our team want to go and push to get that life.
Yeah.
Our culture is built on hard work. Andy and Jackie are the hardest workers in the room. That bleeds down to our leadership team. And then when it comes to, like, just culture and our team being close, like, we want to suffer together. We want to put ourselves through the hardest workouts possible. We want to play dodgeball together. We want to go-kart racing together. We want to paintball together. We want to do all these things that just build that bond outside. Everybody tries to just build culture in sales meetings and just the normal shit. And you don't even need to go on, like, crazy expensive retreats and all this stuff, because I see a lot of people go blow money, like, ridiculous money, like, and mainly in the solar space.
Especially.
Like, you know, it's like those guys will go blow the craziest money on these retreats.
Yeah.
But most of it's, like, kind of messing off. Yeah. Like, just be intentional. Like, once a week, a couple times a month, take your team outside of the office to do something fun together. Yeah. We do a team workout once a week where it's hard as shit. Like, we push these guys to the limit, and you know, it's like, it's cool because, you know, when I'm pushing these guys in the workout, or one of our team leaders is pushing these guys and we're running them up hills, miles, and making them work out together, the one thing that they have in common is they hate me, or they hate the team leader, or somebody who's running the workout. So they're bonding together.
Nice.
First, they kind of start out the workout. We'll put them through stuff where they're having to work together to get through the workout, and then then they're kind of, you know, bitching or whining or something, or complaining because one guy's not holding their own. And then by the end of it, dude, they're bonded together, and that bond lasts through when they're on a sales call, or somebody's stopping, or they're not holding their non-negotiables, or they said they were going to do something. That guy can come up and say, hey, dude, like, man, we were just working out together. I seen how you can push through this. Push through this.
Yeah, bro. We have a weekly cold plunge and sauna that we do with our crew.
I love that.
And it's, dude, it's so great for bonding. Yeah. It's so great for bonding.
Is that at your office?
No, it's at another location. So we just go there every single week, Fridays at 9:30 a.m. And we'll sauna and then cold plunge. Yeah. It's great for onboarding new guys too, because you see what they're made of. You know, I see a guy get in the water and, like, within 30 seconds he's, like, wanting to get out. I'm like, you're not gonna make it, bro. I'm like, you're not fit for Sparta.
It's so good, man. Yeah. It gives these guys a chance to just talk. You know.
Yes. It's the unique environment. Yeah. You know, and so it's been so good for guys like me too. Like, I'm not so intense and driven and focused to get outside of the shell in that way and build with guys that on that side.
You know, you nailed it too. Like, you know, guys like us who are very intention driven and we're driving our sales teams, like, the key for a leader is to be inspirational and motivational. Motivation is going to be temporary. We know that, but inspiration is really tying somebody's goals to like deadlines and really inspiring them to get there within the vision and them seeing the vision inside the company, but then driving them to those goals and like really learning how to drive people based on the languages and the things that they speak. Like if it's about cars, if it's about freedom, if it's about purpose, like figuring out how to tie them to those goals. But guys like me, I'm always driving. So when I get a chance to get outside of, the office, I can get vulnerable with these guys and they can see who I truly am. They can come over to my house for dinners, stuff like that. Yeah. Where I didn't see a lot of that when I was growing up. So I want to be the person that's like, they can come to. Yeah. And they can believe in, and that can also be there and help guide them.
What kind of boundary? I'm the same way, just so you know. Like, I fully agree with that. And then but there's another side too, where I've seen salespeople take advantage of like too much of like texting and calling at miscellaneous times. And I tend to veer on the side of like give more and take calls. But I've also seen the importance of setting boundaries for myself, like, certain times in the morning and then certain times at night. And I'm not perfect. Yeah. But I've seen how it's helped me just channel my energy into my relationships, myself, so that when I am at work, I'm fully engaged. I'm fully theirs, right? And so where, I used to just let the tail wag the dog, so to say, and just answer calls and texts anytime. Yeah. Like 9:30, 10 o'clock at night, you know what I mean? Yeah. 11.
I'll be honest with you, I haven't found that balance too much yet. Okay. I'm not going to tell you I have a time block on that. I've never really seen Andy, and he's never really ever texted me or I've called him or where he told me like, hey,
this is not a good time.
Yeah, it's always been a good time for him. Wow. And so I don't know. I find myself too sometimes, you can feel overwhelmed at times. Like, let's just be honest, because there's people texting you, calling you. There's problems. Like, I answered a phone call at 10:30 a couple nights ago. One of my guys was going through some stuff that honestly could have waited to the next day. It wasn't really 911. Yeah. Learning how to judge how I handle the problem. Like, if it's a scale of 1 through 10, is this a 9? Is this a 10? Can it get handled now? Yes. But I usually just take the call or take the text or maybe respond back like, hey, this is something we can take care of tomorrow. I'll see you in the office.
Nice. That's good.
But I haven't found that balance. That's something I struggle with because I do want to be there all the time. Yeah. So, sometimes I find myself just always in the battle. Yeah. And so I don't know, maybe you could give me some advice on that.
Well, bro, I'm taking notes from you too. I think there's a healthy balance. I don't think there's one right answer because there's something about having the leader and the leadership that does answer right away and is quick. Yeah. And I'm very quick. I have read receipts on for that reason to hold me accountable to. Otherwise, I'm like at 300 messages unread right now. Yeah. It just stacks. You know how it is.
Yeah, that's a good form of accountability.
It is good.
The read receipts, because I don't have that.
Yeah, it's good.
But that might make me even get back even faster.
Helps.
That's actually really good. Yeah. See, it's like little things like that can change. Yeah. So that's
I do a lot of 3D touch reading.
Yeah.
If I don't have time, let's look at this
real quick. Or you just look at your thing so it pops up on there. That's good.
Yeah, no, but there's a balance, and I don't think there's one right answer, but I've learned, and this is relationships, this is business is relationships, of the importance of setting and managing expectations. Sure. And I mean, it's the same thing with selling, you know. It's just not over-promising, and for me, when people come in, there's a couple expectations that I set I'm really stern on, and one of them is like, hey, like, I'm not going to be answering after 8:30. If I do, like, you're special. You know what I mean? And if you set that expectation, there's no entitlement for it,
It reminds me of a guy who was really important in my life, who was a mentor of mine, who was he was one of the top salesmen and leaders in this large MLM organization, and he had thousands of people underneath him, and he would do Zoom calls and all this stuff, and I got into this coaching thing, and I started to really like coaching, and this guy was, he was making like 7 figures a month, like just killing it, and he's just such a genuinely good guy. And he had a rule, no technology after 9 o'clock. Yeah. And I always thought that was weird. But then I had never really ran a large organization. And as I start, like, over the last couple months, I mentioned that to you, and I'm like, no wonder he would do that, because, you want to spend that time with your kids or your wife or your family.
Filling up your cup.
Yeah. And so, like, I do put my phone in like a bowl, or at the front, like I have this like little area in my house where there's like a bowl and a little, and we have like our daily devotional that's at the front of the house. I'll put my phone right there, And I make sure when I walk into my house, I'm very intentional with my wife and
Being
kids.
present, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
and I might circle back around to the phone.
Yeah.
But like, you know, you do got to find that balance because you don't want to just burn the candle at both ends, especially if you have a family.
Yeah,
you know?
100%. Dude, and I was terrible at this. You know, I'm divorced, but this is something I've had to really change.
Yeah.
Of like, because I was just working all the time, just, you know, inbound, just going, go, you know. And I've learned this last year, Evan, where I slowed down because God humbled me. You know a little bit of the story.
Yep.
And it forced me to slow down. And I realized in doing so, I diverted that focus to me. And even though I was working less hours, I set crazy hard boundaries, like not until 10 a.m. Like I didn't start till 10, which is crazy for me. And then I was done about 6:30. That's when the expectation was set, which is nuts for me, bro.
Well, that's also, you know, that's like self-awareness, dude. You ran a play that just didn't work for your life.
Yeah, especially at the time.
And in a sense, and by the way, you learned everything you needed to learn to become this new man and like recreate. It's like you're recreating.
Yeah.
And you got to kill off the old you and find those things that weren't working. And you putting yourself in that situation probably led to a lot of the reasons why you had problems in your marriage and the things that you had.
Bro. 100%. And in the business.
And in everything. So like for you, that's like you need to find those strict boundaries. And I do too. Like I have a lot of different little rules and different things like that. I think a lot of salespeople and entrepreneurs can take a real lesson from that to where it's like a lot of guys, especially guys like us, and I'm assuming you're going to attract a lot of people on this podcast who are very driven like you. They wouldn't even be on this. They wouldn't even be listening to this if they weren't.
Yep.
You know, you got to be very careful chasing the money and not the man. You got to really chase the man. You got to really chase the person, the best version of you, the happiest version of you.
Yeah.
Money will not make you happy.
It won't.
If you could chase as much money as you want, you can get the car, you could get the house, and you could look up and you could lose everything. You could lose the wife, you could lose the relationship with your kids and all that stuff.
Yep.
And I'm lucky enough that I work in an organization that set that expectation from the front that we're not going to do that.
Not burning out.
Yeah,
That's
because so like I feel as if I've been blessed enough to have this hack where my relationship with my wife, you know, there's always ins and outs that are going to be a struggle.
Yeah.
But for the majority, we've been in these marriage masterminds and we've surrounded ourselves with these power couples. And like even at the Man in the Arena, some of the stuff these guys were talking about, I have no idea like how hard that would be for these guys to talk about some of the things that they've been through as far as, you know, cheating, as far as lying, as far as like really putting on this mask and hiding these things. I haven't had to do any of that stuff with my wife because from the very moment I met her, I was already working with Andy and he said, dude, we don't have room for any of that. You know, so that's the power of mentorship and huge. You getting deep into your self-development and going through these programs changed the way that you acted, the way that you changed. And now the next version of you won't have any of those issues because you've touched the stove, you've got the mentorship, you've invested the money in proximity about like finding your issues, and now you're ready to become the best version of yourself.
Yep. And let me say to the audience here listening, the secret was getting fully honest.
Yes, fully honest.
Like the truth sets you free. And I mean, like for me, it was overcoming pornography, right?
Yeah.
And lust and so I had to go deep into the weeds, which required me to slow down. But because I did that, everything accelerated because I changed and I was chasing the man.
Yeah.
I stopped chasing the money. And as you chase the man, the money comes faster.
100%.
Yeah.
But it's the hardest thing to do.
It is the hardest thing to do.
What was the moment that made you like really say this isn't working? Was it literally like?
Oh, dude, it was a moment. It was in 1 week. Okay, this is after being divorced.
Yeah.
And this is dating a girl that I thought I could have married. Like I felt it, you know.
Yeah. After the divorce.
After the divorce. Yeah. I've been divorced almost 4 years now. An incredible woman. And to the girl I lost that same week, I lost her. She was incredible. I thought I was going to marry her. I lost $250,000 like cash from deals that were supposed to be funded in solar that we got like a phone call saying, oh, hey, by the way, these aren't going to be funded. My team lost about another $150,000 on funded deals. I lost my 2 top sales executives who were some of my best friends at that time. And then we lost another couple sales guys, basically all my leadership at the time that I was going to build with. These guys were super bought in.
Yeah.
And big time, I knew I was going to recruit and build a lot with them. They left, actually competed against me. My executive assistant quit that same week, almost lost my COO. I mean, dude, it just crashed.
Yeah.
And that was, my life was already hard at the time. Like I was.
How long ago was that?
This was last year.
Yeah.
Exactly this time last year. And my kids were just coming. I had the kids full time over the summer.
Yeah.
And I was used to having that girlfriend there, you know?
Yeah.
So single dad, 3 kids, summer season, busy season. I've got all my sales guys that were like running deployments are now gone. And I'm thinking, dude, well, I'm effed. Like,
yeah.
Like in my chat.
Like there's no coming back.
Yeah. You know how in your iPhone
you start to stack that, like there's like I've messed everything up.
Oh, dude, it was like, yeah, like in my bubbles on my text message thread, you know, you got the 9 bubbles of the closest. I lost 4 of those in 1 week.
Yeah.
Actually, no, 5.
Yeah.
5 of those all gone. Just like deleted, you know, and like, yeah, I can't even express how painful that time was. It was harder than the divorce.
Yeah.
But it was beautiful, bro, because it humbled me and it woke me the F up, and I realized I was chasing the wrong thing.
Yeah.
And I got to a point, Evan, where I was like, I don't fucking care about the business anymore. I'm like, I'm so fucking pissed at this because it's been distracting me from healing.
Yeah.
And what I learned is every man, every woman, we all have some kind of vice or something not. And that's, for me, it was, you know, a mix of pornography, video games, distractions, work, right? All of it.
Why do you think that they left you? Why do you think that the new woman after the divorce, you probably thought you learned your lesson from the divorce, but then something happened there, teams leaving. Why did you think that happened?
Betrayal.
Yeah.
But it stems down, that's the external, but it really is, you know, a form of betrayal myself, because I wasn't in tune with my emotional health. For me, that was my lacking. Some men, some women, it's their physical health that they need transformation. For me, I need transformation on my physical health. For some, it's the financial health.
So it was your internal. It was like your internal, you think, which I love that answer, because a lot of people would put it off on everybody else, but it had to, like, the common denominator was one person.
Yeah.
You know, and so you said it was like your internal, and this is the shit that leaders don't want to talk about.
Exactly.
Internal, you said your internal, what'd you call it? Like your internal health.
Yeah, my emotional health.
Your emotional health.
Yeah.
Why do you think you had a problem with that?
So it was just managing different emotions. And it wasn't, this is the crazy thing, is it wasn't even on my radar. And so I learned this as I got proximity with Tony Robbins and his team, getting coached by them and a therapist and reading different books on my issue. You know, from the surface level, I was like, oh, I look at porn a lot. Like, this is a problem, right? And I was masking, like I was dumping into that to relieve stress, as a lot of men and different people do. And so I started there, but that wasn't the root problem. The root problem was, I had different emotions and feelings that I was disregarding. Yeah. And they would come up, whether it's anxiety, anger, you know, loneliness was a big one for me. And I was just like, brush it off. Like, that's little bitch stuff, you know, like, but it's so critical that we go to those and feel those, address it, do the healing. There's so many things related to that. It took me months of work, bro, to break through that and understand why I felt the way I did and give myself grace, bring Jesus into my life. And
were you close to God at the time?
No, I had a relationship, but it wasn't the same as what it is now.
Yeah.
And I got a strong impression just about a month ago. It was like, I brought you this low so I could take you much higher.
100%.
Yeah. And I can see, like, because of all that, like, it woke me up.
This is the stuff, like, and maybe my disconnect a little early on with you, and I don't know, but maybe it was that there was that ego.
Maybe that's what I was thinking.
Then I feel like I met this guy, and I feel like seeing you almost had tears in your eyes. You did have tears in your eyes, and I could feel that authenticity. And I'm curious to know, like, maybe your team didn't feel some of that.
I know that. It's exactly.
And maybe they felt like it was about you and less about them.
Yes. 100%,
and that's when people start to lose their people, their teams, their life, their girls, the things, because it becomes about our goals, and we're not. When I say you got to be a servant, like Jesus washed the feet. Jesus washed the feet. Like, you got to be able to be a person that's willing to do stuff that other people might say, like, why are you doing that for them?
Yeah.
Like, he washed the feet of the disciples because why? Because he wanted to do something for them. And even a few of them were like, dude, like, you don't need to do that.
Right.
No, you definitely need to do that. You definitely need to put yourself back into to like empathize. And one of the most crucial sales skills that you can ever have is putting yourself in other people's shoes.
It is, bro. It's a
and you can lose. And by the way, you were making so much money that, like, you you could get clouded by that, and that could become your idol.
Especially when you're attached to it, when you have holes in your heart.
Yeah.
Like you try to fill it.
It will magnify it.
Yes, you try to fill it with lust or with money, or, success.
Yeah.
And so when you fill that in the right way, when you start making it like I'm now, it's like it's not even there. It's I'm grateful for it, but as you're saying, the secret to living is giving.
Yes.
And the more you give without expectation of getting, the more that you will get.
Yeah.
And that's a principle I've learned from Tony Robbins. And it's selflessness, it's love. And for me, I had to lose so much to really, all I wanted was connection. I'm like, what makes me feel connected to men is just being real.
Yeah.
And in serving them, I'm like, dude, I got so broken where I'm like, I just want to see this guy. Like, I just want to pour into other people, And that's when everything started changing, bro.
I love that, man.
Yeah.
See, I love that part about you.
Yeah.
That's the part that drew me to you, was that. And so, like, you got to realize, like, God put you through these things, so now you're opening up new doors, new relationships. And at the time, it felt horrible.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of people going through a storm right now that might feel like you're never going to come back from it, and there's no way, or the shame or the guilt or whatever you've done. It doesn't matter what you do. It matters who you're becoming.
Exactly.
And there's nobody that's too lost.
No.
I mean, listen, Paul was the Christian killer.
Yeah.
Right?
Exactly.
Took the Bible the furthest.
Yeah.
Right? Like, you got to understand, like, it's all about redemption.
Yep.
And nobody's perfect. Anybody who pretends to be perfect, they're just hiding it better than somebody else.
Yeah.
That's what I've learned. I used to look up to all these people, and I thought they had the perfect life, and I thought if I made more money, and when you don't have money, like, you think that money is the end all be all.
Yeah.
And then what you realize, if you really get around some successful people, they'll tell you these stories. And if you're young out there and it's just about money, I'm telling you, find a relationship with Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Find a relationship with your Creator.
Yeah.
Find a relationship, find people around you where you can contribute. Find mentorship where somebody will mentor you, but then find somebody you can mentee.
Yeah.
Like, be both, do both.
Both, yeah.
So you can really see what the cycle of life is really truly meant to be.
Yeah, I love that, man. I love that.
Yeah.
It's amazing how, like, when we get honest with ourselves and we stop running, like how things. But it's so hard for so many guys, and so.
Well, you were how old before you stopped the bullshit?
Dude, 30, bro.
How old are you now?
31.
Yeah. See, I'm 35. And I mean, there's lessons you're talking about right now that I've only learned in the last year. There's times that as you're helping lead an organization. You got a lot of people counting on you.
Yeah.
Betrayal, we talked about. A lot of it, I totally believe in extreme ownership, but when your heart gets hurt and like people that you thought you were going to be with for a long time, all this stuff, you can get dark.
Yeah.
You can get a calloused heart, and you can't be that way. Like, you got to be a person that can still love even if you've been hurt, and still be open, and that is so hard to do.
It is hard.
And those are things that I've just been learning. So it's like no matter what level you're at, there's always room to grow. But at 30 years old is really when I started to kind of really self-develop and change my life. I didn't even understand what self-development truly was. Kind of read some books at 25, learned a little bit from Grant on how to sell, learned some things, and then once I started to get around Andy and his wife and really understand how did these people become who they are, was literally through self-development, because I was a bad student. I didn't understand. I was just chasing girls, getting in trouble, selling stuff I shouldn't be selling. And once I understood, like, if I actually read this book and learn it, and then live it, and then actually take this content and then apply it and execute and apply it and execute, I became addicted to that growth, that personal development. And so just like you at 30, around that 30 mark, I started to find who I was. And I think there's a powerful thing at 30. You start to really know. I don't know if it's like you start to feel old. You're like, damn, I'm 30 years old.
Yeah.
But you start to for me, I really wanted to get my shit together.
Yeah.
Like, I really wanted to become, operate out of this point where, I was leaving legacy behind and stop going back to the old me. Andy always says you're either running from the old you, which is two motivators. You're either trying to run as far away from the old person that you used to be, that person that's lurking in the shadows. Maybe he's lazy, fat, entitled, didn't have a good heart, wasn't a good leader, burned people, got burned. that person that's hurt and scarred, maybe had bad parents, maybe you're running from that person, so you want to be a good parent, you want to have a good heart, you don't want to be an alcoholic, you want to be a good leader, you want to sell with high character, high intensity, good passion, or you're just trying to run towards the person you truly want to become, which is great too. But the biggest motivator Andy talks about is running from that person you didn't want to be. And that's a lot about what, like, motivates me.
Yeah, I love that, bro. That's huge.
Which that person for me was just my dad. It was like I didn't want to become like him, I just wanted to become opposite.
Yeah.
What
was his thing?
He just was a guy that, like, was very talented. My dad is a very talented salesperson. He's big, he's strong. He was a military guy. He got kicked out of that. He was a basketball player in college, got kicked out of that. Job to job, became a truck driver. I got 8 brothers and sisters from him. My mom's got a couple of other kids. I'm the youngest in the family, so I got all these other brothers and sisters. One of my sisters is no longer with us. He didn't show up to her funeral. He was a guy who's just full-blown alcoholic, very abusive to my mom and the other women that he had children with, and was very manipulative, was a guy who could use his sales skills for destruction, or he could use them for good, and he chose to use them for good. And then he was a guy who, although he is the kind of person who would drop a lot of scripture and talk about God a lot, I never saw God in him.
Yeah, that's
like, you got to see God in other people before you.
Really matters.
And that's why I didn't go to church from 12 to
that'll push you
30 years old, because I was like, bro, these people are full of shit.
Yeah.
So I just was like, dude, I never really saw him much growing up. He would pop in and out of our lives and ruin it, and I just was like, man, I just want to become the best dad. That's it.
That's
like,
powerful.
Outside of being successful, I just want to be a good dad.
I love that, Evan. So huge, bro.
Yeah.
Personal development in sales training.
Yeah.
How does self-development translate into success selling?
How does self-development translate into selling?
Like, how does it help? How does it help with performance, with mindset, with anything?
Well, just your confidence. When you get repetition and you can get around somebody who's been where you want to go, and they understand things that you don't understand, and you can learn their word tracks, and you can develop yourself, you're going to be able to provide more value and less friction to clients. And if you can provide more value and less friction and make deals easier, and you're more confident and your eyes are on fire because you're playing chess and not playing checkers, and you're really understanding the ins and outs of mastering a stranger and relationships and tonality and all these things that are really important. Sales is a science.
It is.
Once you understand that, sales becomes fun.
Yeah. The
problem with salespeople who don't understand this is it's really hard and it's really deflating and there's a lot of rejection.
Yep.
And if you don't understand that, it's going to be something that you're going to get out of the business and say solar sucks, car sales sucks, all this shit sucks. No, dude, you sucked because you didn't commit to it like a craft.
Yeah.
It's just like anything. If you're going to get good at it, like, you're going to have to put a lot of time and effort into it.
Yeah.
And once you do, it becomes so much fun that, like, when I'm around a prospect and they're like, oh, I got to talk to my wife, I got to do this, I got to do that. Internally, my enthusiasm is going through the roof because I'm like, bro, come on. I'm so, like, I've heard this 1,000 times and I'm about to tell you shit that, like, I've said 1,000 times to a client, but you're going to hear it like it was the first time, with a little bit of humor, with a little bit of fun, and I'm going to say it like it was the first time I said it, and I'm going to influence you to move, and when you move, we're going to have a lot more fun, and we're going to make a decision today.
Let's go, dude. I think a lot of that is energy, and like, how you fill your cup, how you take care of yourself. Like we always say, how you do one thing is how you do everything.
Yes.
And filling your cup physically, your relationships, just taking care of yourself and improving every day, sharpening the saw, you have a different energy about you.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah. So you're a big proponent on doing everything in the morning.
Oh yeah. Let me ask you this. When's the most you feel on fire? It's when you're getting progress.
Yeah, it's
right?
progress.
Tony talks about it.
Yeah.
It's the key to everything.
It is.
Tony says you can't be happy unless you're getting progress.
Yeah. Yep.
Truth is in times that I've been the most stale or like stagnant is when I'm just not getting progress. And sometimes there's going to be seasons where you're going to get progress in, like, your marriage, and maybe sales is lacking a little bit, or your physical health, and so it's a game. Like, you got to be very self-aware, so you're just getting a little bit better in all these areas.
Yep.
So you feel like you stay on fire.
Yeah, dude. Well, we just did a training with our team where we looked at I got 7 different pillars of life that we look at, and it's physical health, emotional health, mental health,
yes,
relationships, career, mission, financial health, and spiritual health. And
Freaking
you
love
have to
that.
you have to get aware of like where you're at, 1 through 10, like rank yourself.
Yes.
Because that truth will set you free. And a lot of people don't have the awareness. And so just ranking those out and then looking like, okay, cool, I'm like 5 out of 10 here, I'm 10 out of, or 9 out of 10. And then,
Dude, that's crazy.
yeah, and shifting
We
that.
just did the same thing.
Did you?
Yeah, Danny Klein ran a sales meeting a couple of days ago where we ranked out almost all the same stuff.
Yeah. Well, dude, what a lot of people don't know though, what a lot of people don't know is you do that ranking and then you go to where you want to be,
Yes.
and then you create a gap. Just like we do with selling, we create a gap of like where you are to where you can be. And it's the perception that creates a desire to move when you bring, especially when you bring urgency and enthusiasm. So you create the gap.
Powerful.
And then for me, it was emotional health, right? Especially last year. And that allows you to focus on one area,
Yep.
right? And like you said, there's ebbs and flows, there's seasons that we're working on different areas of life. It's not just like, oh, you're gonna work on one area for the next 2 years, you know?
You can't.
Yeah, you've got to be pushing and shoving in different areas. But once you understand those, like where you're lacking, then you have to look at the human needs.
Yeah.
And Tony talks about how there's 6 human needs, there's 4 core ones.
Yep.
Certainty, variety, significance, love, and connection.
Yep.
And if you understand like, okay, where am I lacking on those 7 pillars? And then there's usually sometimes there's a vice or something that people turn to. And then, but what they don't see is they just look at the vice in the area that they're lacking. But then you have to look at the need that you're trying to meet. And if you understand that, you understand why people do what they do. And this you can use to sell, recruit, influence, but also change lives.
Yeah.
And you guys do this, you guys know this, but you know, for me, variety was an issue.
Yeah.
Like I was creating variety through looking at pornography.
Right.
Dopamine, right? Cold plunging creates that.
Yeah.
Working out creates it. Going on a trip, you know.
Yeah.
And there's different ways to create the variety in healthy ways. And so unless you know what need you're trying to meet and pulling out the unhealthy ways, you have to replace it with a healthy way.
Yep.
Like loving connection for me was also lacking,
Yes.
right? And so fostering relationships with men that were healthy relationships of brotherhood was huge for me. And it wasn't even something that was on my radar. I'm like, I just need a relationship with one woman, you know? But it's so critical that we have those areas filled. So
You nailed it, man.
yeah. So anyways,
I'm so glad that you found that for yourself because I feel that from you. And you know, we talk about it a lot. You got to have the right woman in your life. Like the 2 things that I could tell people is like, you have to have the right woman in your life. You have to have the right brotherhood in your life. If
good.
you don't have those 2 things, or you make a mistake on those 2 things, it can cost you your life.
yeah.
And you can bounce back and you can go through these things but you have to realize at one point, you have to surround yourself with a solid group of people. Everybody's heard it. If you're around 5 crackheads, you'll be the 6th.
Yep.
If you're around 5 millionaires, will you be the 6th? If you're intentional, if you're showing up, giving respect and giving value, and you're showing up really learning from these people, yeah, it will happen. I know it because I was not a millionaire. I never made $1 million in income. I honestly thought I was going to do that in my mid 40s. And I got around Andy and he's like, listen, man, you just are surrounded by the wrong people. Like the little lies and things that you're telling yourself on your income, on your fitness, and on the person that you want to become, you're just full of shit. And I was like, man. And I got around Andy, and the very first time I got around him, I was one of the best salespeople in my industry. And he just said, dude, why don't you start challenging yourself and getting around some people that are better than you? And I was like, well, who's better than me? And he started role playing with me. He started hitting me with these objections and these closes. And I was like, dude, he's like, you got to understand this. You're going to run into, you have to understand this. You have to train because one day you're going to meet somebody that's going to make you look like a freaking amateur, an amateur. And for today, that's me. And he literally buried me, and he did it in front of a lot of people too. And I have a fear of embarrassment. Like I want to show up and be good, and I want to be the best, and that stems from a whole lot of other shit. I have like a complex around being number one. I have a complex around being number one, bro. It's like I fully have to win every competition. It has I don't know. It's crazy, but that changed my life getting around him, and then seeing his network, and then growing our brotherhood, and the people that have came into my life. It's not about being a millionaire. What it truly is about having a rich life and seeing the mistakes people have made and then trying to correct them, but running around a group of people who authentically just want to be around you and want to build value, and we're learning from each other, and we're growing, and we're sharing the good, the bad, and the ugly. At times, if you're a high-level salesperson, high-level producer, especially a team leader or a company owner or executive, a lot of the times those positions, you could feel lonely because you don't want to talk about the weaknesses in front of your team.
Dude.
Because the hardest part is being weak in front of your team. You don't want to show weakness.
Yeah.
And ultimately, one of the most critical elements of leadership is showing vulnerability.
It is.
And there's a fine line, obviously, between being like just a total, we know what, and then being a total puss, and then also showing like, hey, I've been where you're at.
Yeah.
I'm going through this right now.
Yes.
And when you are around a brotherhood, if you feel like you can't do that around your team, once you get good around a brotherhood and you can do that, it'll bleed into your team. Well, they'll see a vulnerable side of you, and they'll want to be led by you that much more.
I love hearing you say this, Evan, because I feel like I cracked the code accidentally, because I had to be humbled, but I figured this out unintentionally, and I realized, oh my gosh, this is not just helping me overcome my weaknesses, this is helping me build a world-class organization.
Yeah.
And like a lot of, like, if people were to look at our SOPs, our sales training, our manual,
they'd be like, oh my God.
Bro, it's next
ridiculous.
level. It's good, but they don't realize, like, you could copy all my shit, like the how, but they're lacking the who.
Yeah.
And that character and that edge and that vulnerability within the atmosphere. That is the superpower of what.
And the why.
And the why.
And because the why, because people know the vision and where they're going inside of your company.
Yeah.
A lot of teams, like team leaders out there, you got to understand, people have to see the vision on where they're going inside the company. Your vision needs to be big enough that they feel theirs inside of it.
Yeah.
But you're right, man. It's not about the how you're going to get to the $1 million or the how you're going to get to the 10 million, whatever the revenue number is, or some of a lot of people mask their insecurities around their revenue. Profits are for sanity, revenues for vanity.
Yeah.
How much money are you pulling home?
Yeah, exactly.
But it's not really about that. It's not about how you're going to get to that next level. You said it. It's about who's going to get you there.
Yeah.
And it's about the team, dude. It's about the team. You have to build a good team. And the only way, people always come in here and they're like, man, I wish I had a team like Andy. I'm like, you'd have to be a badass leader like Andy.
And it's how he lives his life.
It's
It's
how he lives it.
Yep.
And it's the shit that he's been through. The reasons why he is good at what he is good at now is because of the way that he's lived, the good, the bad, and the ugly. So now, when you get a good public speaker, you feel like they're living inside of your head. You're like, how do you know that about me?
Yeah.
Well, one of the reasons why Andy's so popular on the internet is because of all the shit that he says that's like crazy, but the millions of people that follow him know it's true.
Yeah.
And the only reason he knows it's true is because he's been there.
Yeah.
And that's ultimately a good leader is somebody who's been there and then can coach you and bring you out of it.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And that's how you build a really good team. And then you got to be a freaking psycho competitor. You got to drive them, push them, build them, be there for them. Like, building a team is nasty. It's the hardest thing you'll ever do.
Yeah, it is. It is.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Dude, it's so much fun.
What are some of your guys' core values?
The number one is just trusting God. Trusting God before everything else, before we talk about loyalty, standard setter, being an overcomer, setting the example, being jacked. Those are some of them. Making our customers happy. Like, you got to trust in God, man. You got to have faith. You got to thank God for the blessings even before they come. Like right now. Like, thank God for, say it's a paycheck. Thank God for the big deal that you're going to land even before it comes. That's faith.
That's beautiful.
That's faith.
That's faith. It's gratitude. It's abundance.
Well, gratitude is thanking God after it comes and being like, hey, thank you, God. Like, I appreciate that big deal. No, hey, God, I already know the $10,000 paycheck's coming. Thank you for cashing the check already.
I love that.
Like, that's faith.
Yeah.
So, we're constantly just trying to ground our team in the roots of Jesus, man. Like,
dude, that's awesome.
Like, it gets me fired up, dude.
Let's go, dude.
I want to just express to people, like, if you're lost, you're feeling anxiety, you don't know where you're going, find a good church, find a good community.
Yeah.
Come down to Impact Church with us in North Scottsdale. Get around some people that have a different perspective than you. Maybe the play that you've been running is getting you the results you're not getting, you the results you're getting. Maybe the reason why you have a hole in your heart and you're trying to figure out all this shit and you constantly are trying to figure it out is because you're not understanding that we're not trying to sell you shit.
Yeah.
We're telling you exactly how our life change was through these strict things of being close to God, getting our fitness right, getting our mindsets right, being a good person, putting that above everything.
Yeah.
But a lot of people out there, they could hear this information, they're all motivated, they're all inspired, but when it comes to going back home and actually doing the work to do these things that will build the pillars that will get you to the next level, they won't do it.
Yeah.
And that's the shit that pisses me off the most.
Yeah. Dude, to create the change, people got to get sick of something. They've got to get sick of it, and you don't have to wait till you get there. You can fast forward and look at what you're doing, and if you just play that clock forward, like a lot of people will realize, oh shit, like I'm gonna be broke, I'm gonna be tired, like, you know, still whatever, your relationship could be worse, you could be divorced, you could be single, but if you can go there, you can create that pain, and then I'll activate that desire to change for you. And so,
and you know, that's the sickness that we have as human beings. Why do we got to wait until the shit is so painful to want to go change our life?
I know, dude. So this was my story. I was one of those guys.
It's like,
and so I'm on a mission now to be the guy that's saying, don't be me.
Yeah.
Learn from me.
Well, now we're those old guys.
No, yeah.
We're like, don't do it. And you're like, shut up, bro. I'm like, don't do it. Don't touch the stove.
Don't touch the stove.
I had a great boss, man. His name was Dave Morrissey in the car business. Chris Linkos, great guys in the car business. And they told me a lot of shit that I just, at 25 years old, I had so much ego.
Yeah.
I was not close to God, so I didn't even understand my ego. The pride was coming before the fall. The fall was coming.
Yeah.
The fall was already happening. You know, and I lost my life savings a couple different times, did some bad, stupid shit, bad investments with stupid people. But at the end of the day, I was the one attracting a lot of this stupid negative energy because of the dumb decisions I was making. It was karma.
Yeah.
You know, and it was like, but I had these good leaders, and they would tell me stuff like this, and I was like, oh, they're just the old heads talking.
Yeah.
And like, no, dude, if these guys are a little further ahead than you and have the life that you want, shut up and listen.
Yeah, exactly, bro.
Like,
exactly. Dude, you know what's helped me after I've lost so much? I actively imagine having a huge organization, 500 plus people, crushing, but then losing everything.
Yeah. So you already felt like you were going to lose it all.
Well, yeah, I've been there. I've been there. And so it crushed me. And what I'm saying is,
like, you're waking up every day already expecting, like, this is the day.
Yeah. Now I'm not going in a negative light of like, oh, this is going to happen, but I take myself there in a sense of gratitude.
Yeah.
And recreating that self-worth, that I don't find my validation in external things.
Yeah.
And the power behind this is, like, let's say I fast forward and I lose 500 people, organization kaput, you know, and I take myself there and feel gratitude and pride and confidence, knowing who I've become in the process to build that.
Yes.
That I prioritized me. I wasn't prioritizing the wrong things. I wasn't drowning myself in the work. That if I did lose it, first of all, I'm happy and I'm grateful to God. And I know things will work out because I've been here, I've lost it before. But because of the man I've become, I'll build it 10 times faster
100%.
and 10 times bigger.
Man, see, we just have so much fun with these conversations.
Yeah.
Because we're the same guy.
Yeah.
You know, and I hate, like, I don't want to, like, bounce and then we one up each other, but, like, dude, it's the same thing.
Yeah.
Like, I remember losing it all and literally having my first panic attack. And I remember I was drinking every single day in the mornings, crushing beers. Like, I had a 2-year-old daughter at the time. I'm living in this penthouse apartment. I had just lost all the money on this business that I was opening, and my partner took all the money. It was just a pile of shit. And I remember sitting there, and I laid on the floor, and I had probably down a 12-pack and a whole thing of shooters. I was just drunk. My daughter's sitting there, and she's playing, and my chest was just, I felt like an outer body experience. I almost felt like there was a security camera and I was looking down at myself, and I couldn't breathe, and I thought I was having a heart attack. And so I was grabbing another beer and I was trying to slam it thinking that would help. And it was the worst experience of my life because I looked over at my daughter and I just thought to myself, I just thought to myself, like, this can't be it, you know? And she wasn't disappointed. She was 2 years old. She didn't know, but, like, internally I felt like, you know, I'm letting her down. I'm letting my family down. I'm letting everybody down who believed in me. And I had a really good life, and I just made some bad decisions over the last couple of years that led up to this moment. And that moment changed my life. And I remember making a decision that next morning to change. I started meditating, and I started working out, and I started like that rocky climb, and I started just coming back, and I started fighting, and I started fighting, and I started fighting, and I started fighting. And I started watching Steve Furtick on I never saw a pastor, but I saw him, and he looked different than some of the pastors that I'd seen, and I started just really taken my personal development seriously. And the reason I did that is because my brother was kind of going through something similar. We did this together, of course, because we're twins. And and I walked down to his apartment. I was like, you know, you look different. What's going on with you? You know, and he looked happy. And we were just, you know, gone through all this shit. He said, I started meditating, man. And I was like, what are you smoking, dude? I thought we were getting sober. And he's like, no, I started meditating a couple of days ago. Started swimming, started getting my mind off of all of our problems, started focusing on solutions and how we could get out of this. And 2 years later, I earned all the money back that I had in the bank account, got my credit back to where it needed to be. And ultimately, that moment changed because I was a shitty leader up until about 26, 27 years old. I would just run people over. I was a top producer. If you were in my way, I would just run you over.
Yeah.
I didn't care about training you, teaching you. I just wanted to be the best, and all that I cared about was being number one. And I probably messed up and maybe even ruined some lives along the way. And I burned people, and my heart was a little dark, and I didn't realize it because I was lost, and I didn't realize I was lost.
Yeah.
And it was like that humbling moment where I looked at her and I said, I'm never going to treat another person, another child of God, the way that I've treated some of these people, and because I would never want my daughter to get treated the way that I've led some of these people. And when I saw that and I started looking at people differently, like, no matter what I think about you, you're a child of God. You deserve grace, no matter who you are. You deserve a second chance. I'm going to try to do my best. And when I started changing that mindset and changing my development journey, it was like the next 5 years of my life. Well, 3 years later, I met Andy Elliott, and I spent that next 3 years working on myself because I knew I was going to run into a handshake that would change my life.
Yeah.
And that handshake would have never happened. Had I not burned my life to the ground, I never would have been in this dealership that then wanted to start training, and then we started looking for Andy Elliott. I can trace all the dots back to that moment, but in the moment, you can't trace the dots forward.
You can connect them looking back, but you
yeah,
can't
dude, and it's just like, it gets me emotional because I'm like,
wow.
I'm like, dude, at that time, I thought my life was totally over. And I just remember looking in that little girl's face and just so much disappointment. And I was like, I just never want to feel that again. And that was I only had a panic attack one other time, but that moment was like so severe. That was rock bottom for me.
Yeah, that's incredible, man. How you've risen from that.
Yeah.
Thanks for sharing, bro.
Yeah.
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 That's
it hurt.
It's so beautiful, these comeback stories, you know. And you know, I always say this a lot, that life isn't happening to us, it's happening for us. But you have to shift the perspective.
Yeah.
It's the same thing in sales, like, oh man, I lost 2 deals. It's like, dude, no, we're getting closer to the yes. Like, it's coming. I just learned how to overcome this objection better. That person stumped me, like, I'm ready for the next one.
Yep.
You're always winning. It's just the right perspective. This time last year when I was going through my shit, I knew from divorce and other things that God had taken me through. You know, like, I've been through other valleys in my life, and I rose back, and then I let myself fall again. But I knew on that time that this would be the comeback of comebacks, that I would do the most important work I've ever done, and that's to work on yourself. Yep. And I would just plead with anybody listening to this that you can see your story, like, no matter what you're going through. And in fact, the more shit you're going through, thank God for it.
Yeah.
Because look at the shit we've gone through and the transformation, and it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
And that shit, it makes you relatable to other people, and you being vulnerable and telling your story. Well, if you can catch the secret here, that is the secret to high level leadership. 100%. And you've seen, like, these guys are absolute prodigies, on fire, blowing up a business, literally changing the world.
Yeah, thank you.
And this is all stemmed from a transformation with one man, Andy Elliott.
Yes.
And it has transpired through transforming you guys. And
yes.
as long as that transformation can be perpetuated, the leadership, the growth, the impact continues and builds.
Yes.
And so the question is, how long can both of us as leaders continue to expand that transformation?
I'm doing this shit till I die. I'll probably end up dying on a Zoom call, and my neck will just explode because I'm just like, you gotta learn to freaking do it the right way. Personal excellence. You gotta commit to freaking being self-mastery, meaning you gotta freaking be the best version of you. Come on, you gotta do it.
Let's go.
You know, and it's just crazy, man. You nailed it, dude. It's all perspective. Truly, we summed up a lot of leadership. This was a lot of mindset.
Yeah.
If I could say maybe the number one thing, there's so many intricacies of leadership, but truly to become the best leader and best version of you, it's always going to be perspective. Like that's the number one thing that you need to focus on.
Yeah.
You're going to be getting hit with problems.
Yep.
In sales, you're going to be getting hit with rejection.
Yeah.
It's perspective. You nailed it. You said, listen, if you got rejected by these 2 customers, well, in my mind, what I used to do was I would break down what my hourly rate was, even though I make commission, and I'm like, dude, I just earned actually $400 the last 2 rejections.
Boom.
It's all perspective.
It is.
There's
and
so
what
many.
you focus on, where energy goes, like where focus goes, energy flows.
Yes.
And you magnify it and amplifies.
Yes, and one of the keys with Andy is he's always had a really good perspective, no matter what attack we've been under, who's trying to come after us, what posts are on social media. He's always had a really good perspective, and who's ever following you wants to follow somebody who's not panicking under pressure. They're like, hey, they reframe it just like a sale. Hey, let me tell you what I think about this. Yeah, hey, maybe this person's being a hater. Why don't we use this as a person who now is kind of our enemy, and we use this as a chance to go motivate the shit out of the team.
Let's go.
Why don't we use this as fuel?
Let's go.
Why are we acting like we're victims about this?
Yeah.
You know, so perspective is such an incredible gift, and that's something you're gonna have to work on every single day of your life if you want to build a good team and a good family, for sure.
Trump just announced something with the solar industry that's shaking up a lot of people, that's causing panic and fear. And I've been getting with pulling the tax credit, it'll have a massive impact. I've been calm, collected. I was just chilling. I was poolside yesterday for a couple hours, and I was getting a lot of DMs. Oh, hey, what do you think about this? I'm like, what? Think about what? Like the tax credit. Aren't you worried? I'm like, no, yeah, I'm stoked.
Yeah.
I'm stoked. Because it's creating urgency to sell.
Yeah.
I'm like, we're gonna have the biggest year we've ever had, bro.
Yeah.
You're sitting over here panicking like a little bitch. I'm here celebrating, you know? Perspective. And look, if it goes to shit, we do lose it. I'm gonna be celebrating. The celebration then is, my competitors are all facing the same shit.
Yes.
There's an opportunity for me to rise.
Yes.
They're gonna push out, they're gonna have a lot of reps quit. This is the chance for me to absorb people.
Yep.
I've seen it in times with financing and funding has changed. I'm like, bring on the adversity in the industry, because that's how we thrive. That's when we get ahead.
100%.
It's all perspective, bro. And this shit you learn as an entry level salesperson. Yeah. You begin the path of the highest form of leadership, of self-mastery, manage your time, your schedule, and most importantly, your mindset.
Yes.
And
mindset is everything.
It is. And so if you can shift the perspective, you know, we say glass half full. I say, like, dude, if the shit's 5% full, see it, because it'll start filling.
Yeah.
And speaking of the glass filling, like that is self-development. Is you are filling your cup. And the game of sales, leadership, everything, it's giving, it's serving.
Yes.
And you can't serve, you can't give, you can't help people, which is selling, and create that change and that energy unless you have an abundance. And if you're lacking, it's not because you're a little bitch. It's you need to prioritize you. And sometimes we drown ourselves with distractions, whether it could be TV, it could be Netflix, it could be friends, it could be alcohol, it could be porn like me, it could be
100%.
It could be work.
100%.
And so it's so critical that you take the time to pour into you. And that little time, even if you make it just an hour, like, okay, I'll shit on Hermosi here, okay? Because Hermosi's like, oh, don't need morning routine. I'm like, I'm sorry, bro. Like, it's that energy that you pour into you. It will amplify the rest of the day, and it continues to compound if you do it consistently over time.
100%. And just like we said about the brotherhood, a lot of leaders, they're pouring into everybody else and nobody ever pours into them.
Yes, exactly.
So that's why we always have to surround ourselves with other people that are pouring into us at every level. At every level, you're going to have to get in a new circle. You're going to have to find people that are also doing better than you. You know, no matter what, when I made my first $1 million, I was trying to find people that were making 10. You know, because I wanted to figure out how, like, what they're doing and have them pour into me, and also make me understand that my problems aren't unique to me. Everything that I've been through, everybody's been through it. There's anybody on here can resonate with the story of a shitty parent, or somebody who burned them, or somebody who cheated on them, or somebody lied. We've all been through the shit. It's like it doesn't need to be a victim story. It needs to be a victor story. It needs to be like, hey, I understand. Look, there's somebody that had worse problems than me and made it. Let me get around those people and let them pour into me. Let me realize that, like, it's all going to be all right. All you got to do is just really, truly be willing to put in the freaking work.
I love it, bro.
You know?
Okay, two random questions.
Sure.
Favorite self-development event that you've been to? Favorite couple? Maybe give me a couple that you've loved.
Favorite one?
Self-development, yeah.
Damn, I want
seminar or anything.
I mean, I know it's our seminar.
No, and it's okay. Yeah,
Our last event that we did at MindCon,
I bet
we
that
did
was
that.
insane.
We did that with David Goggins.
Yeah.
We, I visualized doing an event with him for the last 5 years.
Let's go.
But we also did it at we also did we did this MindCon. We had almost 1,000 people show up to the workout. We had close to 1,500 plus people at the event. It was our largest event. And I just thought it was really cool because we also got to do it. We do our events here in house at the Lions Den at our HQ. This one we decided to do at Impact Church, which we've been at that church for the last 5 years. I've watched that stage. I've sat in that crowd, visualizing me being able to be on that stage was almost surreal. I've taken a lot of stages. I was actually really nervous on that one because I was like, I watch my pastor right there every single week. So that was just a moment for me. Outside of that, like I would say one of the most impactful events, I guess I'll share two, is Patrick David's The Vault event.
That's where I'm going next.
Yeah, unbelievable.
You going again this year?
Yeah, oh yeah, bro.
I'll see you there, bro.
Oh yeah, we bring,
CEO?
we shut the whole company down. Yeah, I'm going CEO, bro.
Let's go. I'll be
Yeah,
there with
like
you.
it's so worth the money. It's $15K for a CEO ticket.
Should I get my COO the same ticket as me, or should I?
Bro, listen, anybody who's really like your running mate, like your actual battle mate, that's going to be right there with you.
Go the highest level?
100%.
Both, okay.
100%. Yeah, your CEO should definitely go with you.
But the highest level ticket.
The CEO ticket, yeah.
Okay, cool.
That is the CEO ticket.
Yeah.
Get that one. They just do an unbelievable job. Patrick is obviously one of the best teachers out there.
Yeah, he's incredible.
Very, very well put together event. And just most recently, you and I going down to the Man in the Arena. Did not expect that.
Same.
I've never seen Garrett J. White speak.
Bro.
I've seen him speak. He spoke at our events.
Yeah.
I've never seen him go deep on all that dark stuff.
Yeah.
And Garrett J. White runs he's so powerful, dude. He runs this fine line of like this sinister bad guy.
Yeah.
But then he's got this like light, dark, like light side and like good man of God, just like peaceful. But you can tell he dabbles in the dark side, and he's been there.
Yeah.
And when he can bring people out of the dark side, like I've never seen before, bro.
Yeah.
And he kind of is a little scary, like, right? Like he kind of looks like he'd be like, like, dude, he would be the bad guy.
Yeah.
But like he's the good guy.
Yeah.
And he's got so much heart, and he's got so much like just fire and passion, and I didn't expect that. So I was really happy for Garrett. They put on a really good event. I really enjoyed, watching him do his thing, and he helped me have some breakthroughs at that event.
Dude, same here.
Yeah, how about you?
I love that, bro. That actually made one of my tops. That one, and then Tony Robbins' event.
I haven't got to go to Tony's. I really want to go in the next year.
You'll love it.
Yeah.
This November, I'm taking my whole company.
Okay.
We're taking everyone.
Is it going to be in West Palm too?
I think this one's going to be in New Jersey. He does some in West Florida. But yeah.
A couple of our guys have gone, and they've just came back, of course, on fire.
On fire, yeah. It's incredible. I've realized Tony, you see, like some people are like the fountain of a lot of information, and Tony's
he's the originator.
Yeah, but he even got most of his from Jim Rohn.
Yeah,
Jim Rohn from Napoleon Hill.
Yeah,
and it just keeps going.
Yeah.
But that's a big one for me. What else has been big?
And you know where they all got it from?
Yeah.
The Bible.
The Bible, yeah. Literally, yeah.
So
you think about it?
I go back to the original,
That's so good.
I go back to the original stuff. I go back to Solomon. I go back to the Bible, all this stuff, because everything comes from there.
Yeah, it's just regurgitated from that, bro.
Yeah.
It's so good.
And everybody has a different spin in their message, but I love all of them. Jim, I love him. I love everybody. I just get so stirred up on that stuff.
I love it, dude.
Yeah.
A couple favorite books.
Let's see, The High Road Leader by John Maxwell. That's one I just got done reading. I'm actually reading it for a second time.
Wow.
The High Road Leader. Jesus, the High Road Leader. Unbelievable leadership book. I'm telling you right now.
By Maxwell.
Yeah. And then I'd say the Maxwell Leadership Bible. That Bible is John Maxwell's Bible. And throughout the Bible, it breaks down each scripture, each passage on different examples of leadership. There's so much different stuff in there. He took all of his leadership books and then kind of combined it in the Bible with different things.
Dude,
and it really
awesome.
breaks down leadership at a biblical level. That's just unbelievable.
Wow.
And it puts context. One of the hard things about the Bible is the context. It's like, so it puts really good teaching moments and context on each individual story and all these things. So those two books definitely changed my life for sure.
Okay.
For sure.
Noted. I'm gonna get both.
Yeah, I'm just really deep in, I spent the last 4 or 5 years really studying sales.
Yeah.
And right now I'm just so deep into just becoming a better leader. So those are the
game,
two
bro.
books I'm focused on.
I love that. Tony says business is a spiritual game.
Yeah, 100%.
It's because the secret, he interviewed a billionaire, multiple, right? And Tony's a billionaire himself now. And he said that, he's like, hey, what's the secret to building wealth? This guy says gratitude and giving.
Yeah.
So be grateful.
Sounds simple.
It sounds simple, but help other people get what they want. Who would preach that? Zig Ziglar.
Yep.
See the same thing. And Jim Rohn's saying you got to work hard on yourself than you do on your job. Tony's saying the same thing, because you're making yourself more valuable.
100%.
Now that only goes so far unless you give, right? And so becoming a man of value and change, right? Like part of our story and our value is we know how to help people change.
Yeah.
That's what Andy's amazing at.
Yeah.
And dude, this is a side tangent. I want to land this message loud and clear for the audience. As much as you guys hate Andy Elliott for doing weird shit, or anything that you judge him for, there's something that I love about Andy, like really love. I see so many men, Evan, suffering from basically letting go of their masculine.
Yeah.
And getting soft.
Yes.
I see men selling out, losing motivation, and this. Here's what pisses me off: is seeing the woman in their life feeling the need to step up.
Right.
That gets me riled up.
Right.
Because there's beauty in them being in their feminine energy. They will be happier, they'll be more fulfilled, and what the two of you can do together
is unbelievable.
It's incredible. And Andy's proof of this.
Yes.
And like I just had a guy text me, he's like, hey, I can't, I gotta delay this two months, my wife doesn't believe in me.
Yeah.
I did this last solar blitz and did poor. I'm like, what do you do for 2 months? He's like, well, I'm gonna help my wife's business. Like, she's doing pretty well. And I'm like, I'm happy for her business, but at the cost, like, she's feeling the need to step up.
Right.
Because this guy couldn't step up to the plate.
Right.
And some of these men need to be called out.
Right.
And Andy's fantastic for bringing out this masculine energy, saying, wake the fuck up.
Yes.
Like, so I love that. As much as guys are going to hate on it, like, our society has bred soft men, and we need that.
Yeah.
So
and
I love it.
Andy's the voice of that, and Andy doesn't care if you love him or hate him. Andy wants to trigger something inside of you to change, and if that comes at the cost of you hating him, where you're commenting on his reels, at one point you're going to comment on enough reels that you might actually just stop for a second and pull back the message and like take your ego and your insecurities out of it and look and say, hey, is what this guy's saying the truth? And it is.
It is, yeah.
And if once you can do that, and you actually can he's a polarizing figure. So he's always the way he looks, the way he talks, how aggressive he is. He's an extremist, dude. If he's into something, he's gonna be. That's why he looks the way he looks. Like he's always. That's why his business is the way it is. Everything for Andy is extreme. So because he doesn't like playing in the gray area. He knows that's where he gets in trouble. That's where his life was shitty. So for him, it's like he knows your problem is because you aren't committed. You maybe you are lying to yourself. All of the shit that we know.
Yeah.
And Andy's not scared to tell you. And the world just needs more truth tellers. And when you're a truth teller like Andy, you're going to catch a lot of bullshit. You're going to catch a lot of hate, but you're also going to get a lot of love.
Yeah.
And you're also going to change a lot of lives.
Yeah.
And the reason why Andy's so fired up and passionate, been doing it all these years and firing everybody up, is because of the messages we get, the people that were close to committing suicide, the people that were just their marriages were in shambles, their sales teams, their businesses were failing, and they finally just got honest with themselves, started to do what I did and you did at rock bottom, change everything. Some people may have not even needed a full transformation. They just needed a little enhancement. They just needed a little kick in the ass. Yeah. And guys like us who are very competitive and who understand that the truth is the way, we resonate really good with that message, because we don't want fluff. We just want the truth. Yeah. So I appreciate your support, and I love that fire, and you're like, stepping up for us, because it means a lot to us to have the people who really support us. We will do anything for those people.
I love it, bro. Oh, it's 100%. It's genuine. It's genuine.
Yeah.
So what's the next goal, Evan? Where are you guys going? Personally and professionally, where's the next goal?
Maybe I'll have a couple more kids. I got 3. Maybe we'll get to 5. I don't know.
Let's go.
I dabble with that, man. I don't know. It's crazy. It's crazy. The next goal, personally, man, I got some cool things coming up with my wife. We have some cool trips and For me, you know, we just did date night last night. We do that every week. It's hard. I'm a guy who, you know, my goals are tied into the team. I want to see my team reach their financial goals. A couple people on our team bought new houses this year.
Let's go.
I want to see Jonan and Enrique, our camera guys that are here with us, get more successful. They're starting to run their business, land more clients, make them more efficient.
I love that.
I just want to see people happy. I want to see our team win. I want to see them get closer to God. I know those like generalities. I think with that comes like my goals of, you know, financial success and things like that. But honestly, man, I'm in a zone right now where if I could just make sure that the people that are with us and they're winning and they're having fun and they're being good people, like I'm happy. So for me right now, everything for me is like, you know, it's happiness, man. It's like, am I doing my best? Am I proud of myself? Am I staying centered with God? And if I'm doing those things, everything tends to work itself out. Yeah, man. I mean, there's revenue targets and all that shit, but if all that's out of alignment, none of it really matters.
And if that's in alignment, all the revenue targets get hit.
Yeah. We got built. We're building 2 new buildings. We're growing our sales.
Huge, bro.
Yeah, we're expanding. We're growing our sales team. We're growing our marketing team. Like we're in a full court press right now. We want to put our we want to put our necks on the competition's throats.
Let's go.
Like that's how we are. Like we're aggressive. Yeah, we want to fuck shit up.
Let's go.
But at the end of the day, like, I don't want to put more M's on the company's bank account and us not be happy with what we're doing and how we're doing it. I want to get better at our product. I want to get better at our fulfillment. I want to get better at our delivery. I want to be able to help more people.
It's so important. That's the game, man.
Yeah. Like I don't want to just make more money. I want to do it all the right way. I want to build this company where we're on a foundation of growth for the next 20 years. I want to die in this company. I want my kid to grow up in this company.
I love that.
And I want to be just great at what we do. I want to be known for being great at what we do.
Let me ask you, this is interesting because you're a high level guy, like entrepreneur and massive aspirations. How has Andy created that organization where you feel like you have that, not just loyalty? Like I know a part of it's sort of the loyalty, but like, or you know what I'm saying, where like you feel bought in and like you don't want to leave and go start your own.
You know, I'm kind of old school. This is a really good question. This is for all you leaders out there too, and salespeople. From a sales perspective, when somebody puts you on in the culture that I grew up in and like my family, when somebody gives you an opportunity, like it's your duty to do the work for those people and be a person who is a needle mover, who's a linchpin, who shows up every day and gets the job done. My mom just retired from the military and the government. She worked 35 years, worked her ass off. My grandpa, before he passed away, 60 years for the school district. 30 years my grandma worked at the community center. We're just long-term thinkers. I suggest that you in order to, as a salesperson, to be successful, don't be thinking about the next 2 to 3 years. Why don't you think about the next 5? Why don't you think about making it to the 10-year room where you're going to see things differently? I make it to the 10-year room with Andy. There's a bunch of things that changed. Like he trusts me more. I'm doing bigger things. If the earning potential in the company is there and you've created the value and you're with the right people and they've done everything for you to be loyal to you and they've kept their word, it would be stupid for you to go out and backstab them to go do something different. Plus, I'm just being honest with you, most of the people out there think they can be entrepreneurs, think they can be Andy and Jackie. I mean, listen, they take on more pressure and more shit than I even know what to do with. And I got a high level job in their company and my shit's, there's a lot of pressure. So I honestly don't want to be the face of the company. I would rather him do that, me do my job, and I can really create a really good life doing that. But when somebody puts you on, in my world, it's like there's a loyalty, there's a code, and people don't operate in that old school code anymore. And I just operate in that code. So for salespeople, I just suggest like get with the company that you know that you're aligned with. If that leader keeps their word to you, it's your duty to keep your word back and to become the person that can influence that company to go further. And if you can do that, and that's a real good company and you got a good leader, as I do with Andy and Jackie, you will be able to write your check one day for whatever it costs, as long as you've found the buckets of cash in the company and you've created value and you've picked those up, you'll do really well. On a leadership aspect of the company, You have to be able to keep your word to your employees. Andy always said, like, dude, I'll never change your pay plan. If I ever lie to you, get out of here. Like, if I'm ever not the guy that's holding his word, if I ever become just a shitty leader, like, just leave. You know, he puts a lot of things out there on social media. He's always getting better. He always says, I'll never let my team out self-develop me. Like, he has a lot of accountability in our company to be growing. Andy's the type of guy, if our company puts a podcast in a chat and says, hey, I think everybody should listen to this, and it could be the freaking janitor. Andy's the first person that grabs that podcast, puts his notes, and sends it back to the group like, here's my 5 takeaways.
Wow.
Right, like, there's little things like that when you work for somebody that is that kind of person, you want to be around him for life. I wasn't the person that I was when I met Andy Elliott. He created this person. So it would be stupid for me to not give him all I got. It would be crazy. That's different. There's not a lot of people that believe that way. But since Andy was able to build me, my brother, we've been able to build people in our organization that are the same way. And then those people are able to build more people along the way. And you're going to lose people along the way.
Of course.
And I'm going to encourage some of those people to go start a life. They don't always have to be with us. Some people are going to be with you for a season. You can't get dark about that. You got to let them go on and do their thing. But I love where I work. This isn't even work. This is my life.
Yeah.
So they've done a good job of integrating that, being there for my family. I know we've been jamming out for a while, but my son's middle name is Elliott. I named my son after Andy.
Wow.
And the reason why I named my son after Andy isn't necessarily just because of Andy. It's the movement we started. I want when my son looks at his name to realize, like, he's an overcomer. He's a guy that no matter what's going on, he can build something great and he can contribute to other people. I want him to look at that and understand, like, he grew up in the Elliott Group. What do we stand for? We stand for fitness, faith, family. Like, we stand for these things. We're overcomers. We want to show other people what it's like to live a life of personal excellence, to not be perfect, but to be guys that are close to God, not just say we're close to God, but people feel that afterglow. They feel that, they see it, they want to know more. And so I named my son that, and you know, some people talk a lot of shit about it, and it's like, dude, you don't understand what this guy did for me. He took me from a guy that was living up to a very small potential to a guy who's very happy, who has an incredible life. Had I not said yes to Andy, the invisible life that I would have missed out on not going all in with him, I would have missed out on my 2 kids that I have now. My wife, I never would have met her. She never would have been attracted to the previous guy. She's a super all-star. So if you don't believe I'm a closer, just go follow my wife. I'm a freaking closer. But she never would have been attracted to that. I never would have had that son. But I know that. See, I know that when people are going through shit in their company, they forget what you did for them. Yeah. I don't forget what they did for me. And I'm going to fight with them. We're going to fight. We're going to cry. We've cried. We've had blowouts. But at the end of the day, I never say shit that comes out of my mouth that I don't mean to them. And you as a salesperson or as a leader, you got to be careful with what you say when you're going through shit with people. Are you fighting to win, or are you fighting for the outcome? When I fight with Andy and Jackie, or we go through stuff, we're fighting for the outcome. We're not fighting to hurt each other.
Yeah.
It might feel like it at the time, but we've also developed enough with each other where we know, like, I don't hate you, you don't hate me. I just want I just want to win with you guys.
Yeah.
And so that takes a lot of time and builds a lot of trust, but there's a lot of hard shit. Like, there's a lot of that goes along with that. Yep. But they've given me everything that I possibly could ever dream of, so it's just my job to protect them.
I love that, bro. That's beautiful. I just unpacked so many lessons there.
Yeah.
That's so good.
Yeah.
So good.
Thank you.
It's one of my mentors taught me.
And I know we said we were going to do 30, 40 minutes. Okay. My brother joked around that we would never be able to talk.
No, I'm glad. We got to some of the nuggets, and sometimes I'll feel impressed to just keep going. I'm kind of feeling that way.
But I just love talking to you, man. I really, you know, there's sometimes you get on some of these things and you
like,
are.
Let's just end this.
Yeah, and then there's sometimes you know that if people are really listening, and they're not lost right now, and they're actually present. These things are the things that change our lives.
Yeah.
And it's little things in here. Like, you go back and you watch this a couple of times, you'll see what these changes that are coming for you, or maybe you're going through right now. And if you just lean into it, you'll be a better person.
Amen, brother. You know, you talking about this journey with Elliott, and my mentor taught me that, you know, people have this limiting belief that they need to own everything, they need to control everything, they need to be the guy that runs the ship. And
Dude, sometimes the number 4 or 5 guy in the company, sometimes the number 2 or 3 guy in the company makes more than the number 1.
Yeah, makes more and is a better human and has
Yeah,
better
and
freedom,
you got
everything.
and you don't have
less stress.
Oh my God, bro!
Yeah, you're going to be kicking ass like most entrepreneurs' ass. You already are. Like the guys who are head of the ship.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it's a limiting belief to think that you have to control everything.
Well, and here's the truth too. Like the money that I make, I can invest back in other businesses. I can make big plays with it.
Yeah, as you
and
should.
I can own stuff, and I can do a bunch of stuff with it. So it's like, but you got to know what your vision is and what makes you happy. If all you want to do is go be a number 1. Go be a number 1. Or maybe you go learn from a number 1 and you're honest with them and you say, hey, in 3 to 5 years, I want to open up my own thing. Totally cool.
Yeah.
It's just, for me, I know that like I know that if you are really good at what you do and you can do really well inside of a company, you can use your money to make big plays and go buy businesses and still use your active income to support some of your passive stuff.
Yeah, real estate franchises, starting gyms. There's so many different ventures, bro.
So much stuff.
And dude, so one thing I want to ask you is your energy is incredible.
Thank you.
It's incredible.
Yours is too.
Thanks, bro. Were you always like this?
Yes, I kind of was in a sense.
What was different though? There's something's got to have changed in the last like 5, 6, 7 years.
Well, first and foremost, I didn't know my energy was special until like probably a couple of years into selling cars. And a mentor of mine used to just tell us like, if we could package up your energy and sell it, we would make trillions of dollars. And I was like, oh, I don't even understand what that means.
Yeah.
He's like, no, you don't really understand. But when you walk into a room, like you influence the room changes, the energy shifts in the room. I didn't know that was a skill. And then as I got with Andy, like we started kind of weaponizing it. Like I'll walk into an event and immediately start going and messing with people, razzing them up, and I didn't understand it was a specialized skill. But I learned that without intentionally learning that from my grandfather. My grandfather was a very polarizing guy like Andy. He was 6'6", 290 pounds. He could sing opera. He spoke 5 different languages. He learned them when he was in the Korean War. He learned Italian, Korean, Spanish. Very smart guy, teacher. Never made a hell of a lot of money, but he was very rich in his heart. He lost 2 sons. One got murdered. One died in a car crash. Damn. And then me and my brother were born. So he looked at us as kind of like that second chance. Although he did really good with those boys, they were incredible human beings. And I saw my grandpa, the way he would talk to waiters and waitresses, and he would always like be giving people shit. And he was like, he was so funny and he was so joyful and so happy. And he just brought a light to the world. And unknowingly, like I didn't know that, and he was a theater guy, and I remember wheeling him out one time to give a speech at a graduation, and he had dementia at the time. But my grandpa was ready to talk to anybody at any given time, and I wheeled him out there, and he didn't even know where the fuck we were at. And he's just like, what do I got to do? I'm like, there's 800 people out here that want to talk to you. And he's like, okay. And he stood up and just crushed this speech, crushed it. And then he's like, couldn't remember what like we were having for lunch, And I thought that was kind of funny. Me and my grandpa had a relationship where like I would joke with him about his memory, and like even up until the day he died, like I was on his deathbed, I was like giving him like shit about little things. That's awesome. And he would still be like, it would turn him from like focusing on like some of the pain he was going through to like having fun with me, and he'd forget all about it. That's awesome. And so my grandma would always call us when he was going through something. We'd rush down there and do that. But so unknowingly, it wasn't what was taught to me, it was what was caught. So like I caught a lot of my grandpa's mannerisms. I caught a lot of his, the way he communicated, the way he was very theatrical, his tonality. I caught a lot of that stuff. I didn't know that. So with my son, I'm very cognizant of like he's catching a lot of the things without me teaching him. That's amazing. I just, over that time, and then when I got with Andy and we started doing our events, I just started to really work on the way that I walked into a room, small talk conversations. Yeah. When people were talking to me, I try to throw the light back on them. Nice. Try to become a better listener because I am a talker. Like just started to really learn and watch podcasts like Ed Milet's and different things where I would self-develop on like my listening skills and influence skills and stuff. But really it stemmed from my grandpa. It's amazing, bro. Yeah. Dude, if you saw me 2 years ago, I looked very different. Even 3 years ago, very different. But my energy's changed a lot. It's a lot. There's more of it. Yeah. Like you. And I learned from Tony that it's a choice. Yeah. It's a choice to show up with that energy. Yes, it is. Like I'm kind of a decision. Believe it or not, I'm a more kind of quiet, reserved guy, like innately, like how I grew up. Yeah. I was, dude, introverted, like soft video game nerd, like that was me. Yeah.
And so
you would never think that.
No, you wouldn't.
Yeah.
I've transformed. And I transformed a lot, but then there was a new level that I've even taken myself to. And I do imagine myself in 5 years being more like you, like even more energetic, you know? And so I'm being a student of you, bro. I'm just absorbing. But
it is something that I turn on and I turn off. I learned in the car business, my boss would always say, put on a show worth paying for. People aren't going to want to buy somebody who's dull and boring.
Yeah.
And so like when I go home, like I'm very quiet. Like some of my team come over and they'll be like, what's wrong with you? And I'm like, nothing, bro. Like this is how I am.
Oh, I love
They're
it.
like,
So
like the Kirbys would hang out with us and they'd be like, dude, the twins are weird. Like they don't talk. Like we'll be on the boat and I'm just like chilling. If I, I'm not a guy, when I would drink, I would get more crazy. I would actually quiet down. Because whenever I would drink, like my mind would play tricks on me, like you're being too loud, you're doing this, you're not being yourself, like, and it would make me anxious. So like I didn't like that. So like I'm actually more myself when I'm just like putting on like, and it is somewhat of a show, right? But like my authentic self is I do like to walk in and I have to put this on for my team every day, because if I'm not like this, they're like, what's wrong? What's wrong? And if I'm going through something, I got to check it at the door.
Yes.
But like it's a skill. When the seminars are here, when I'm on the phone with the client, when I walk in with my team, I have to put it on, but then I also have to dial it back and I have to recharge, because like I give so much energy that like after seminars or after a day of work, like I am freaking drained, bro.
Yeah.
So I have to really work on that and get that right and focus on that, because there's times where I'll burn that out and my team or people can tell something's wrong, and I don't like that. I don't want them to think something's wrong.
Yeah.
So it's a fine line.
It is.
But it is a decision every day.
Yeah.
Because there's days where I don't want to do it.
Yeah.
And there's days where I don't do it, and people are like, it's your brand, it's who you are.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I know, but sometimes I just like to be chill.
Yeah. I love it, dude. Sometimes when I'm feeling that way, I will.
Or I don't want to talk to people.
Yeah.
But I got to.
Yeah. When I feel that way, I will sometimes like step out of a room, go on a walk, and just like recenter my mind, just slow down, breathe.
Yeah.
And then just get back into the state.
Yes.
That's one thing I learned with Tony, is that he can get himself in peak state instantly.
Yeah.
And it's a skill to kick it on. And so if you're listening to this, take note. It is a skill. He is not like this 24/7. He's human.
No.
But it's a skill. It's developed. And I can tell you I've transformed and grown a lot in this way. And it's something I'm still pushing on doing.
Yeah.
And becoming better. And you can still be an amazing communicator, a listener, and someone who helps other people in a great way by like helping them feel understood and validated.
Yeah, and you don't have to be a fired up crazy, like when I'm in front of a prospect that's a little lower key, an old person, say I'm showing a car to an old person.
It's different.
I'm not going to be like freaking Andy Elliott freaking wild. Like Andy's not like that.
Yeah,
Andy's a chameleon around the prospect that he's talking to.
That's the game.
Everybody sees Andy, they're like, that transfer of enthusiasm would never work.
Yeah.
I'm like, bro, he's not yelling he's yelling at the screen to get your dumb ass to make a decision, because you're not going to make a decision if he's all soft.
Yeah.
But when I'm around a prospect, you have to have a transfer of enthusiasm, that you believe in your product, you believe in yourself, you believe in what you're selling, and you're having the best day in the freaking world. Otherwise, they're not going to want to buy from you.
Yeah.
So I naturally do mirror my clients, but I'm always just a little bit above them. I want them to come to me and like my attitude, and I want that grandpa to be like, man, I wish you were my grandson.
Yeah. I love that, dude.
So mirror them. Yeah, don't be a freaking psycho all the time, but understand that like people want to buy from somebody who's in a good state.
Yes, absolutely. Yep. Does not hurt to get in a good state.
People see us and they're like, that shit would never work in front of a prospect. You guys are crazy. I'm like, dipshit, I'm on a Zoom yelling at salespeople trying to inspire them to make a decision. I don't sell like a psycho all the time, you dumbass.
I love it, bro.
God, people are crazy.
They are crazy, bro. You said chameleon. That's the game. It's adapting to who you're around, but then a little extra dose of energy.
Yeah.
But people feel the confidence in it. That's the beauty of face-to-face Zoom, door-to-door. What I love door-to-door is that you have that face-to-face presence.
Yeah.
And you can leverage that nonverbal energy. It's just it's easy, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah.
I love it, dude.
Sales is self-development in disguise. I'll kind of end that for you guys. It's
there
just
you
like
go.
Sales is self-development in disguise. The better you get at sales, the better you will self-develop, the better you will be able to influence, persuade, have self-mastery, have more meaning, understand yourself, influence your family, your friends, the people around you. You'll be able to become a better person. So I suggest really get good at sales and then move to leadership. Those two skills will make you rich.
Let's go. Amen, bro. If you need a little extra dose of energy in between your energy, caffeine, or stimulus, whatever the hell you take, just go to their Instagram, get a little dose.
Yep. We'll always bring it, man. We'll always bring it. And if you guys ever need some help, I'll give you my personal cell phone number. If you're seeing this, you can reach out to me. It's 720-202-9765. That's 720-202-9765. Just tell me where you saw it. So you saw it on this podcast. This is really my cell phone number. So, don't hit me up with some bullshit. Like, hit me up if you're actually, needing some help on changing your life. Like,
love it.
I truly believe in people, and I know you've got a good audience. So anything that we can do, please reach out to me and let me know.
Love it. Thank you, bro.
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Call it a wrap.
Let's go. All right, guys, you're the true 1%ers. You made it to the end of the video. Let's go. Like, comment so we know who you are down below, and then share this video to somebody else who needs it. And also turn your notifications on, because we got the fire coming every single day. Amazing. We'll see you at the next video. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go.